Welcome back to the Gilded Cage. I'm Amanda Lynn,
I'm Julie Berger.
and I just ate an Allen later, so you're just gonna have to deal with my green tongue.
Yeah, I was
Sorry,
making fun of her green tongue just now. So.
I didn't even know. I have to constantly have a sucker or a mint, and the mints actually kind of make me nauseated. So it's like Starburst, now and later's, having suckers all the time.
Ginger candies.
Ginger candies, whatever.
I keep a supply of ginger candies
Yes.
in the cabinet. Throw them at her.
Sick preggy over here.
Yeah. Well, maybe this will pass. Maybe it won't be one of those 7 or 8 months.
I see your grin over there too. Like you're getting some kind of sick joy out of Natasha.
I am
You're
not.
like, no, just
I would say that
it is funny though.
I would say that I
Watching me.
probably would if I hadn't actually experienced, and not having ever been a mom. I could say I've never experienced morning sickness, but they put me on this medicine for my diabetes one time. They were like, "Oh, it'll help your insulin work better." And I'm like, "Well, my insulin works kind of fine anyway, but sure, whatever." And I took it, and I was never so miserable. It was like 2 or 3 months. My blood sugar actually got worse because I had to eat all the time
Yeah.
because I felt sick all the time. And it
That's
was like,
morning. That's what it feels like.
yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, I would have never made it through pregnancy.
Oh, but it just sucks. My first pregnancy, all through the first trimester, I was nauseated, and it started to taper off, and then came back at right at 5 months.
You got like
The
a little
day-
reprieve, and then it came back.
Yes, the day that I found out I was pregnant with Lindley, or that I was pregnant with a girl, I was sick. I was in the hospital that night. I was in the hospital, so sick.
Yeah.
I had to get fluids and stuff with her, which I haven't had to do that this time around. But I've learned too.
You know, you're not taking those chances this time around.
Yeah.
So you know to get ahead of it as much as you can and keep
Yep, I
as
know to
much
have my
fluid
little. And if one more person says something about saltine crackers to me, have you tried saltines? Have you tried soda crackers? How about me whack you upside the head with?
No, I'm in my 30s
Remember,
and I've
kindness
never
is
tried
magic.
it. I'm in my
Kindness
30s and I've never thought of eating saltines when
No,
I'm sick.
I haven't been able. Just looking at them makes me sick. And I was talking to a couple friends of mine the other day, and they were like, "Oh my God, same." When they could not do the saltine crackers, I'm more like baked potatoes. Give me some meat. Like really, I can eat most things.
Your body's just constantly
There's
craving
something. Yeah, there's something that happens to me when I'm pregnant. I'm not like a big eater normally.
Right.
I'm just like a little. I'm like a grazer. What you call a grazer. Like I
Right.
like snacks. I snack on chips and salsa.
I know I'm on the phone with you. You're always like eating a bite of something, but it's
Yeah.
never like you're never
I'm
sitting
eating
down
a
for
carrot.
meal.
Yeah, I'm always that person. I'm just a little grazer. I like to chop up, bell peppers and dip
And I'm
them
like
in.
to eat twice a day and then a few,
That's
things in
Nick.
between.
He's like big meal.
Yeah.
And I'm just like such a little grazer. And but when I'm pregnant, I have no there's the button that says you're full. It's broken. So I don't know when I'm full. So I'm just like, Mom, I called I called Nick's mom the other day. We were talking on the phone, and I'm like, well, I just ate a burger from Steak and Shake, and I'm wondering where the rest of it is. But I ate the whole thing. She was cracking up laughing. I'm like, I'm looking in the bag. Like, I didn't really eat that whole burger, did I? She went
It's
back
like
and
you're
got another one.
perpetually hangry.
Yeah.
At that point where you I do that when I'm
I was so
past
sad
hunger.
that burger was gone.
Oh yeah, I'm so past the point of hunger that I think I've only ate part of my meal, and I look down, the plate's empty, and I'm like,
Yes. Like, oh, dang. And now I'm like,
And I know I can't order another, so I'm like, because
right.
I'm not growing a person. I mean, I might be growing this person if I'm not careful. So that's my whole point. Don't grow another person.
Oh, there's so much. We don't always talk about that, when we're pregnant, we don't talk about all the little things that come up and, the bloody nose, and there's just all these little icky things that happen to your body.
Well, and people don't realize, how much we have such a privileged world now when it comes to pregnancy. There's vitamins and there's minerals and there's, supplements and shakes and there's stuff, just everything made, suckers, especially if you're sick, and, all of these different things that are available to a woman. And you can go to these IV clinics now. You're just
Yeah.
walking off the street and they just pump you full of B12 and saline, and you're like, okay, feeling better. You don't have to go into the hospital and spend all this money and all this time and, all those kinds of things. But like when my grandmother was pregnant with my mom, she lost all her teeth.
Oh dang, yeah.
because she was so sick she couldn't eat.
Yeah.
And so her body robbed the calcium
Mm-hmm.
out of her teeth to actually
It's
build
so
a baby.
hard. I mean, we're
And I mean, she was just
building a
morning
human
sick.
is not. It's people. Oh, women have done it forever. Yeah, and it sucks. I mean, they used to die all the time. Like,
Well, and my mom was a rare only child in her generation because, I mean, it was just it was so hard on her body, and, so many different things happened. And it's a weird thing because, we don't think about all that, because now it's like, oh, well, here's another supplement, or we can put it in an IV, or we can do, they didn't do
Oh,
that. I mean, you lived in a rural community and you just got sick, and whatever happened.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad we're not there anymore. I'm glad that I can be obnoxious and call doctors and do what I need to do. Which with Lindley I did all the time because I didn't know.
Right.
And
Everything
now I'm
scares
like,
you.
I remember this shit.
Yeah.
Forgot about this. Been 11 years. Damn it! I remember this. That's why I didn't want to do this again.
Yes.
But but we were talking in our first block, and we're shooting 2 today because you're going out of town.
Yes.
We shot 2 before. We called the black and white days.
Yeah.
And
Filters weren't great.
we were shooting 2 because you're going out of town. And the first one we were going to talk about relationships, but we started talking about music instead, which we always do.
Yeah.
So we wanted to
wonder.
get back and just, I don't know, just touch on some things because I thought it was funny. I was thinking, there was this instance where, and I was being silly, where like a girl was flirting with my boyfriend, and I was thinking, and he had no idea. He is such a nice guy, and he's really used to girls flirting with him anyways, and he's a really good-looking guy too. So
He's lived the bachelor life, and he
lived
just
a
doesn't think about it.
yeah, and this particular person, he didn't even think that way, and I'm like, seriously?
Yeah.
Just flirting with you. He's like, what? And that moment where I was just like, it would be like a cat lady, just like, I will tear you apart, flirting with my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then I was also like, I mean, if you want to talk to her, go ahead. There's that whole thing too. It's so, it kind of like made me this like, I had that like little jealous thing. And I'm not like that jealous person when it comes to relationship. I'm like, whatever, you do what you want. But with this, like, I'm a little jelly.
Well, I think you have such an intense connection to him that it's something that you didn't, I mean, I would cut somebody over my husband at
For
any
real.
moment because, I mean, this is my human, I mean, that's like, he's
You don't
my
cross the
100%,
boundary.
I mean, I laugh because people, I didn't for years see how perfect we were for each other because, when you're in it, you're just like, yeah, we get along great, or we, whatever. But people say, no, you don't understand. Like, 2 people could not have been more meant for one another than you. And I'm like, but now that we've had a lot of time alone over the last couple of years since he sold his business and we've been spending more time, we've had, a lot of stuff going on in our world that has required us to, it would either have ripped us apart or put us together. It really has made me realize how incredibly compatible we are. It's
Yeah.
just like,
Y'all
wow.
totally are. I mean, it's just not even like a question.
Yeah. But when you're living in it, you don't see it. It's just like when you were living in a relationship that you didn't feel completely compatible, you didn't see it,
Yeah, I tried to make it work. We both did. We tried to make it. He saw that we weren't compatible more than I did,
Right.
and I'd be like, no, we are, and then I'm like, some craziness would happen. But, it was just, we grew up together,
Mm-hmm.
but not together.
We
But,
grew apart while growing up.
yeah, but we were just very codependent on one another. That was like our person. But the connection wasn't there. And I didn't realize how unhealthy it was.
Well, it was such a roommate and friendship thing that you were so enwrapped in each other
Yeah.
that you couldn't see that wasn't.
And we both did such damaging things to our relationship.
It wasn't
At
conducive
such a
to
young age.
to
We broke-
love.
Right. We broke those boundaries. We crossed boundaries that should have never been crossed. That in turn built up walls that the other one was never going to be able to penetrate.
And if you had the knowledge that you have now, and you had the foresight to be able to say, we've done some really horrible stuff. We need to go to counseling now. Like, we need to see if we can make it go somewhere else. Who knows? It probably still wasn't because you weren't like love compatible. I mean, you just were different types of people.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, you might have been less damaging for you. I mean, you might have been able to. You may have even split up earlier. I mean, with something like that, because
Yeah,
you may have
possibly.
realized you weren't.
We did
really
try
truly
counseling.
compatible.
Our counselor was like, I don't know, like she didn't even want to work with us. But
And she may have seen the lack of compatibility, and then you're in a situation then that you want to keep going because you have a child and you have a life and you have. It's so scary to think of leaving your comfortable misery, like we talk about. You know, it's so hard to think, oh well, what happens if I'm not in
we
this
weren't
space?
both all in, you know, like
Yeah.
being in this like relationship that I'm now, it's just a completely different thing, and like just being called out, you know, in certain ways, the way that I've been, and like, you know, made to look at myself. It's like, oh, I do that. I didn't know I did that. You're right. I'm not gonna let you know that you're right now, but you're right. But it's more healthy because it's not, you know, it helps me grow
Yes.
in a way that I didn't grow before, you know. And I think that I'm the same way for him. So, but yeah, what do you do if somebody came up to Lee and they're like, you know, if they're flirting with Lee, what do you do in that moment?
You know, I think that our wall is so big around us. I mean, we are such an island
Yeah.
that it hasn't happened in so long. But I really do think I would be. I think I would be the kind of person who would just. I try to be kind and compassionate to everybody. So I think I would hope in that moment I would have enough foresight to just take the person to the side and say, "Listen, no. You know, I know you probably don't even realize it, but don't. This is my person.
Yeah.
You know, and
Don't go there.
yeah, please don't, because and I think once someone, you know, I think in that moment too, once someone is, they're either gonna be so embarrassed, or they're gonna recognize, or whatever it may be. I mean, it's probably gonna be.
They're probably going to backpedal. Like, what are you talking about? I wasn't.
Right, but
Yeah.
at least it's acknowledged. You know, like,
Yeah.
hey, this is not okay.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't know how it would have been when we were younger, you know, or, I mean, I know he's still a lot more of that, you know, an immediate, like, anger if someone is more than
Oh,
normal
yeah.
towards me, but.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one of us is more jealous. One of us. Yeah. But it's not, like, I mean, we're also older, you know, now, too. We both lived, and we're so different. It's more like a silly thing with us.
Right.
You know, we're not really mad. It's just like, oh.
Right,
You
you're
have
not
that little, like,
But here's the difference.
But
You're
we talk
mature
about it.
enough now to not be mad at each other,
oh, yeah.
but to realize that, you know, not
talk-
really even mad at the other person who's perpetrating the thing.
And we are respectful of one another's wishes when
Right.
it comes to that. Like, if there's someone that bothers me, or someone that bothers, like, in social media or whatever it is, it's like, oh, they're out,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, but I think, you know, when you're younger, you tend to take your anger, even if you're not angry at your significant other, you tend to take your anger out on them because you don't.
Oh, the dreams. Have you ever had a dream?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
a bad dream about Lee, and then you wake up and you're mad at him?
Yeah.
I've done that.
I have, and we, you know, I mean, it may take a little while for it to warm off of you, but, you know, I think that, I think that's one of the things that, you know, it's like that extreme fear inside of your brain, but it's been good a couple of times because we've been able to really talk about it. So,
Oh.
you know, and
Oh, it's so funny to me because, like, I've done that. I woke up and I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell? I'm like, I just had a nightmare about you.
Yeah.
It's like, what in the world? He's laughing like, you're loony. And then he did the other day. He had a bad dream about me. I'm like, who? What? But I remember how it felt.
right.
I would have just been like, "You're just ridiculous. That's silly. You had a stupid
And
dream."
that's where I think
I remember, so I'm like, "Oh, I'm so
relationships
sorry. You
grow.
dreamed that," you know.
I think that's where we grow as people. And
Yeah.
we grow inside of our relationships when we realize that, you can have that sympathy for the other person. And I
Yeah.
can remember the first time that that Lee ever had, that he recognized something as a panic attack. We were somewhere and he was like, "I need to go home." And I was like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "I don't know. I just feel," he described it to me and I'm like, "You're having a panic attack." And he was like, "What?" And I said, "This is what it feels like." And, I had been having him, and he had such a hard time when I had him because he's a fixer and he so wanted to just make everything better, and he would get so frustrated. And I thought he was so angry with me, and he was just scared because he thought that I was like losing my mind, and I felt like I was losing my mind. But what we both realized the last couple of years, and even when I am really nervous, I'm still rational. When I used to like feel my rationality leaving,
You're a very
but like
rational
I could
person.
feel my rationality leaving me when I would get really, really panicked. And I could still say it outward and seem like I was, but inside my head was going. But now he realizes that if I can say it, most of the time it loses its power. And so that's been such a gift that he's been able to give me in the last few years, is to say, "You don't seem okay.
Yeah.
What are you thinking? How are you feeling?"
Yeah, I think that's part of that connection too. Like when like you are connected to someone, like I don't even have to, do anything dramatic. I feel like I used to have to just be like, oh, like,
Right.
oh, like Scarlett O'Hara, the situation.
I was
Yeah.
thinking Scarlett O'Hara, like the.
I've always been very much the Scarlett O'Hara drama queen. And like, I don't have to do that at all. It's just like,
He picks up on what's
picks
going
up on like every little shift in my energy,
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of that was our thing, He was like, I remember like when we first started, he's like, "Did you shoot me energy last summer when we were in the kitchen?" And I was sitting at the table, and I'm like, "Yes." And it was just like, we can just feel it. It's bizarre. We can just literally feel each other's energy, like shifting through. If we hug, we've had like 20-minute hugs just standing in the kitchen together. It was weird. It's just this crazy thing. But it's just like this genuine, deep love that we have for one another. And
I can remember I realized that whatever pheromones Lee puts off are extremely calming to me.
yeah,
And
so strange.
I can walk up to him and, I can smell the back of his neck, or certain, like, he can hold on to me in a certain way. And if I can, there's a scent that comes off of him that's like, I guess it's a protective thing.
Yeah.
And it's like immediately I can go from just shaking to a way more relaxed position in my head. It's like just a calm demeanor comes across me, way more so. And I had one like wake me up in the night panic attack. When we were in Florida, we kind of were living back and forth between there and Georgia for a while, and I woke up one night, I was like, oh, and I used to would never, I tried not to wake him up, I tried not to, bring him into it, but it was just, I was like, no, it'll go so much faster. And I crawled over there beside him, and he had never felt my muscles when I get really bad panic attacks. My legs go, and like for the last 2 or 3 days, I've been going through that, and so like my legs will shake so hard, and I'll just be reading something on the like on the internet or trying to process something, and it's like just my whole body shakes. And he had never felt that, and he was like, "What is that?" And I was like, "That's my muscles. The lactic acid starts building up, and like I have to shake it out, and my blood sugar will jump up from the adrenaline. Like all these crazy things will happen." And so, he rode that one out with me, and I think ever since then he's really realized this is hard, for her.
You should try meditating.
Yeah, and I
just
have found
to those, listen to some music.
that helps. And then also there's a whole thing on, and totally look these things up if you have anxiety, because it's a tapping thing, and it's based on acupressure points, but it's therapists do a thing called the EMDR, where you either listen to certain sounds, you hold paddles. They basically, and you can do small versions of it, like with the taps. You say a mantra to yourself, like even though I'm feeling this extreme anxiety, I love and accept myself completely. These are not my burdens, and then you just kind of move through all these points, and it does. I mean, it will bring my brings my heart rate down. It brings everything
That's
kind of back to center. But the other thing that you can do when you're really upset, because like there's even been conversations that I've had with friends where they've said something and they didn't mean anything wrong by it, but it really upset me. And used to, like we were talking about in the last episode with Lindley, when someone said something ugly to her, that can stick in your brain. And so instead of letting my friend's words stick in my brain, I was watching this monk and he was talking about how the power of writing things out is huge. And he said, when he tells CEOs about this and they go, no, this is just stupid. He goes, okay, so your kid brings you a birthday card and they've written all the words in it. Do you throw it in the trash? No. Why? Because she made that with her own little hand, and he's like, were the words, did they matter? Yes. But then why don't they matter otherwise? Why do not have power otherwise? And they're like, I don't know. And he's like, when you're angry or someone hurts your feelings or they say something to you, go write it out. And then write all your anger into the paper. Say, I don't believe how why did you say this to me? Or this is so upsetting to me. And then you go outside and you reread it and you burn it.
Yeah.
That was huge. Sometimes you have to do it more than once, but it totally changed my perspective. And it totally changed the way, and then I was able to, and then afterwards, if it's still there, it's been moved out of the fight or flight part of your brain, it's been moved into the adult part of your brain, then you can speak to the person rationally about it.
Yeah.
You can go to I have a friend that we had to have a discussion, and I was like, it really upsets me when you say this. But I had written all this out in anger of how, gosh, this makes me crazy when she says this.
If you would have come
and if
addressed
I
the
had tried
situation
to
before,
talk to her full of that
frustration
angst
and anger.
just angst over it.
That's hard for me too.
Yeah.
Because like when I get triggered like that, it is it's.
You want to go immediately and handle it.
Yeah, I'm gonna just beat the shit out of somebody. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
I just feel like you do not understand what you just did. But really, I'm gonna feel bad if I do that.
Exactly.
I'm gonna do that.
It's gonna be even
think
worse.
It's gonna get everything out, and it's not. It's gonna make things worse. I'm gonna feel like an idiot. It's not.
Because you vomited your anger onto someone else, and then you just left it with them.
Yeah.
Then you took your sorrow with you.
Yep. Then I'm like, that doesn't even fix this. But if I can come back, calm down.
Mm-hmm.
That's something like meditating, listening to my own stuff, even taking a bath. Nick's real big into like Epsom salt baths, and he meditates. Like whatever it is that works,
Right.
Like, try
Keeping
different
that,
things.
well, and keeping with the Epsom salts, it's keeping your magnesium levels, because magnesium is a very calming element.
Yes.
So it's keeping those levels up.
Mm-hmm.
And your body can tolerate a lot of magnesium. There's definitely an overdose point, but I mean, so like taking a bath or something is not going to send you into, people are like, oh, it's too much. No, I mean, especially when it's being absorbed through the skin, it's a whole.
Oh yeah, it really worked. I can tell such a difference too, because we both tend to get anxiety at times, which I'm way worse. Mine's way worse, but I do think that we all have something that we can do to push through that. The last few months of my life, especially, of the summer, things which you know a lot,
Right.
all of it. But I mean, I won't share too much about that. But there were times when I really had to stop myself from reacting in a way that I normally would have reacted.
Yeah.
Because I knew that this was not going to fix the situation. And it was another one of those, the relationship that I had with
I actually
certain
feel
people.
my legs getting tight thinking about that, because there's situations that I get that, and that's how it is. I tighten the whole thing, and then I can march to the to the person and but it's not.
There was no way. And I at first combat it, with a few of the folks in the situation. Combat it like right back at you. Oh, you're gonna say these mean things to me, or I'm gonna say these mean things to you. And it just didn't fix it, and I was like, I had to get to the point that I'm like, it has to be about love for me.
Right.
If it's not about love, then then it's not going to be worth anything. All I'm going to do is love. I'm going to love people that don't like me. That doesn't mean I want to be around them.
Don't have to let them in.
They can go over there. They're not going to sit at my table.
Right.
But I hope them well and I wish them a good life. But now that I know this is how you feel about me, this is done.
And
You don't
that's,
have to be. Not everybody's gonna like you.
there's a book out there called, I think it's called The Pivot Method, I think. I read it. Travis Meadows, when I was reading something on Facebook, was talking about this book really helped him change things. This woman has this really, I don't want to give away too much of it because everyone should read it. But the thing that was so profound for me was, one of the things is don't go get on the crazy train. Like, help catch yourself when you're on the way to the crazy train.
Yeah, because you jump over on that crazy train. It's hard to come back.
And that's what she was saying. You just make all of these assumptions. You do all these things that you shouldn't do. But the biggest thing that was profound for me, and I found that it was profound for you, and it's actually helped a couple of people that I've told about it, is we need to think of our worlds in circles.
Love this. Yeah.
And every
Listen
circle,
to this.
the
This is my
further
favorite thing.
out the circle is, because here's the inner circle, then there's a circle around that one, there's a circle around that one, there's a circle around that one. And it goes basically to kind of infinity, but basically what it is this is a lot of times just you and your spouse, you and your significant other. Sometimes a parent or a really close friend is in that they know everything. And then the next circle is they know most of everything, but you also know that there's boundaries. There's not a lot of, there always needs to be a healthy boundary in everything, but these people, there's very few boundaries because you're just completely safe. And it's not always your spouse. Sometimes that's okay, because the next layer they can be in and still be a great relationship. And the next layer out from that are the people who have a little bit more knowledge of you than others. They're childhood friends or people that you share most things with. They're still people you'll call when you have a bad day. And then the next layer are the people that you're just really, this is the people you're starting to really cut parts out of.
Yeah.
Because you know that it's going to cause problems.
Right.
And then you go all the way out to the people who are just like that, like the rings around Saturn kind of thing. They're just way, way out there. They're the asteroid belt. Think of them that way. They are the things that you don't really want to mess with, but you have to interact every once in a while. So you're just pleasant and kind.
Yeah.
There's people in my life that I don't want to be around for long periods of time, and I've never wanted to be, because they are completely different than me. Like when I've met, but they're parts of, it's that they're parts of someone else's life that I love. So I have to interact with them at a certain point. But I do realize that, and it's a lot easier to have
picture you like
distance. Well, it's important for me to have the distance.
Yeah.
Because I will trigger up on somebody.
Yeah.
Because
and
they
I don't
really push
like
me.
that, because I don't like that about myself. There's been times where I don't even wanted to be around me.
Yeah.
But a lot of things that it's so easy to be like, oh, this person did this to me, and this person did this to me, and this person. But the reality is I allowed that to happen. And when I just started to disconnect, because I always knew this person doesn't really like me. Why do I keep going back to this? I'm trying to make them like me. Maybe, and it was never going to work. But once I realized, you dumbo, they're not gonna like you. It's okay. You've got to figure out why you need them to like you so damn much. And that like disconnecting and not caring, letting go and not giving a shit, helped me so much.
And it goes back to the whole, we're living in a social media world. It's a lot harder now than it was even when we were younger, because those people we might not have had as much interaction with when they weren't part of our daily feed and our daily, constant interaction with them that we don't need to have.
Yeah.
We don't have to be. It's okay for somebody to be like on your page where you can contact them, but you don't have to have them in you can unfollow. You can.
Right. You don't have to. Don't make yourself miserable. I had people that didn't like me and still do. A few that would look at my social media because they didn't like me, to get some type of fuel.
To continue that.
It made them fed the flame of hate,
Well, it's like we talk about with the 24-hour news, or there's all these things. The world is constantly going to tell us that something is coming for us, and if we absorb into it, all we can do is be prepared to the best of our ability. If that means that just generally, there's nothing wrong with having you should be food. If you can afford it, there should be food in your cabinet. There should be staples of things that like don't go bad for the most part, and you know you should have a couple of like I have a couple of gallons of water frozen that I just keep in the freezer, just in case. You know, like we had a situation here when we had a flood. We had to boil our water. Well, you don't know when something like I mean that could happen. A water main could bust at any time. So I mean, being prepared is not being crazy,
Right.
and it makes you feel better
Yeah.
to know that you know if you just have an illness
Yeah.
that you're prepared. But like social media, constant news feeds, everything is a constant barrage on your nervous system
Mm-hmm.
because it's either anger or fear.
Yeah.
And when you start hiding and blocking and getting rid of those things, if you want to be a part of social media, you need to think about your mental health
Yeah.
because it is huge. It can make a difference, and it can make you.
And we're still in the guinea pig stage. It's so new. God, it's not
It
even
is,
20
and
years old.
it's not healthy to be in that much of a constant contact because we feel constantly judged.
We have to really know ourselves. This is one thing. What made me this brought with you saying that, like seeing this and that. You know, I'll hide things. I had to start knowing myself because I ran. I used to run from people. Well, if I'm not in my town, these people won't affect me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be in Tennessee or Texas. I'll go to California, whatever it is, and I won't be affected by this. No, sweetheart. You know, like, it doesn't matter where they are. The words are there, the feelings are there until you own that.
And the distance can be a
disconnect.
good thing, especially if you just aren't near your tribe.
Yeah,
But I think sometimes you have to come home
yeah,
to realize that there's still people that need to, because I think this is the difference. I think when you are, it's like for me when I'm in Florida, or for you when you're in Tennessee or Texas or wherever you've been, you feel enough of a disconnect from those situations that you feel a little bit more comfortable. They'll
Yeah.
still get you from time to time, but you do feel more relaxed. You do feel more, you do know yourself a little bit better.
yeah,
But when you come back home, you forget who you are because you get enwrapped in those things. So if you can make the point of where you are still you at home.
that was the thing. I would come home and I would get so much anxiety, and I wouldn't even be myself. And I'm like, oh, like I would sweat and just like I could feel just my body, my cortisol spiking. Just everything was like just fight or flight. I'm ready. What are you gonna say to me? Because I'm ready to fire right back at you.
Right.
And when I'd be in Nashville or wherever else, and I made friends that I didn't have to be that way with, it was more peaceful, calming, and I could the difference was there. But it didn't matter. And coming back here, I would be on the road and I would just start sweating. I would get to right outside Chattanooga,
Mm-hmm.
coming home, and I would start to get anxiety every time. I'd be like, oh my God, I can't do it, because I knew I was gonna have to fight.
Right.
And I had to get to that point, like, I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna do it. And I'm gonna drive down this road and I'm gonna have a good memory. There's something good that happened here. I'm not gonna have anxiety, just, based on where I am.
Right.
Based on the fact that I've had to fight before, I'm not gonna continue to fight.
Right.
And that was hard to grasp.
Mm-hmm.
You could relate.
Yeah. And I was thinking I had the same when I would hit the Tennessee line myself. When we had our place up there, coming back was always like, man. And it was a lot that way with we had a cabin for years, and it was just that we had that time together, we had that space, and when we were near each other, we feel normal.
Yeah.
But then when we get around other people, it's not always. And that was one of the big things when I started. Like we came back from Florida, because you and I had discussed. Like I was down there, and you were about to write the second album. Little did we know the whole world was going to implode in your relationships, and all these things were, and all these things were going to happen to both of us, and we were still here in Georgia. But it was kind of the plan. I was coming home. We were both figuring out how we were getting back to Nashville. I was like, this is where we're headed. And so, I was coming back, but I realized when I got home, I was like, you know what? while I'm here, while I'm in my waiting period, which, you know, whatever that's going to become or doesn't become now, I'm going to just build up as many people in this music community here that I can.
Yeah,
And
find
so
people and heal.
but I also wanted to build them up in themselves.
Yeah.
I felt this great need to reach out to other musicians. I started writing with a friend of mine, and I've watched him grow, and he's watched me grow, and our friendship has been so beautiful because it was like we automatically connected, almost like brother and sister, and it was just this wild thing for us because there's no attraction otherwise. It's just an artist to an artist kind of thing. It's just a really neat feeling to have with someone that you can just be completely honest about everything. And when we've written good songs together, but I love seeing this person grow. Like I love seeing things happen. And then as we started going to open mics and meeting people, and there's a couple that runs an open mic in Carsville that are just the most encouraging people I've ever met in my life. And I was like, wow, this is so wild. And as our tribe grew with people like that, it made me really sad for the years that I spent in the relationships that didn't feed me, and that I wasn't able to feed the other people because I was so disconnected.
Yeah, and you're taking and that's taking up that space.
It's taken up all my heart space. It was in the circles were the wrong place. Like the people were in the wrong circles. These people were pushing in on me, and they weren't supporting me. And then these people out here, I couldn't even hear their voices. And you want to be
supportive for these other folks. And
right.
Like, and I'm going to be supportive of you, I'm going to think that you're going to be that way too, and then they're not. And then you're kind of in this cycle where they might say something to make you think they are, and then they pull back, and then you hear and you finally realize it's not even them. It's just you guys don't fit together. I don't fit with you. You don't fit with me.
Right.
You know what? It doesn't matter if we've been friends for 20 years. It doesn't matter if we're blood. If we don't connect and we're not in the same tribe, that's okay.
Right.
You connect with people better. I connect with people better. I think we try to push relationships sometimes.
We do. And that outer circle out there where the asteroid belt is, when you're putting all of your real true supporters out there, you can't hear their voice. All you can hear is the dissenters that are near you. So when you start shifting where you allow people to be in your inner circles.
Like you said, I was so closed off. When I started making real friends, I didn't know. When people were calling me and asking me how I was doing.
And we had a discussion like that early on in our friendship.
Yeah, they wanted you and actually Stacy. Even y'all, like, you wanted to know about my life. I'm like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
I can talk about me?
Yeah.
You want me to talk about me?
And tell me what's right and what's wrong, because it's like the day that you call me and you were just like, because Nick's a super positive person. And you're like, he just keeps telling me to be positive. I can't right now. I don't know. And I'm like, okay, if you can't be positive, then tell me what's going on. Like, and then we had the discussion. I had to have this discussion with Lee. You have to have it with Nick. Some days I can't be positive because I need to let go of the negative so I can make my way back to the positive.
Yeah, I gotta work through things in my head.
And I need to speak them out loud to you. I don't need you to think that I'm like running away or I'm this is horrible
and
place.
His is so out of protection.
It is, because he wants you to feel good.
Yeah.
He wants you to be happy. He wants to take away all the pain you've ever had and fix it.
Yeah.
And that's what Lee's told me before. He said, I have realized that the only way I can fix it is to not fix it. Is to let you actually speak the words, and that's when you get back. Like you can see it lifting off, and he's learned to do that with me as well. To lift these things off your shoulders and lay them down. You don't have to carry them.
Yeah. And he's actually done that just the last couple of days. Like said a few things to me about situations. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so right. Why have I been carrying this around? But I think that was part of it. Is I was so used to being, and him too in certain aspects. He just has this I don't care about. He's such an Aquarius. It's Aquarius with Taurus rising. That's what's wrong with him. That's why we get along though, because he's got a lot of Taurus in his chart. I'm a Taurus, but he's such that like just I don't care. He doesn't care what people think. He really doesn't give a shit. And I don't know why I'm like give a shit. Like there's no children.
Yeah.
He don't give a shit.
I did put that on our YouTube. This is not child friendly.
No,
I don't put it.
which my daughter. I mean, we don't. We're just real free people, but he really does it, and that helps me. Like I don't. It's weird. Like certain aspects I don't, and certain aspects I do. But you know, I think that it's important to have those people around, and I didn't. I was so scared to have friends. I was so scared of like, I didn't feel worthy.
I didn't know you could let people in.
Yeah,
I didn't know that worked, and I think that my priest has such a beautiful description, gross but beautiful description of that when he talks about coming to confession. You know, when you come to the Lord with your burdens, and he said, you know, we're given this gift to say, you know, you can go to the priest and say these things, and he absolves you, because we can never come to. And this is a totally religious thing, but it made so much sense to me as I was becoming Catholic, is that we always have an excuse for why we did something.
Oh yeah.
So when we go to confession, the priest is giving us absolution because he's saying, I know you're human, and God's still forgiving.
It's almost
you.
like therapy. Like when you go, it's
A
almost
lot
just
of,
like
because you speak what you've done, and you say, and you're remorseful for it. But we can never be fully remorseful without the prayers of someone else, you know, because we are always going to carry that. Well, I'm a little justified.
right.
No matter how bad something is, there's always an excuse. There's always a way to fix it. So what he describes, and he goes through this every few years and talks to us about it. And he's like, don't be afraid to come. I'm not judging you. You know, I basically forget whatever's said. This is not something, but he said, you are carrying this giant bucket of rotting fish.
Mm-hmm.
And I equate this to a lot of things in life, and I tell this story to a lot of people, because it doesn't just relate to confession. It relates to our life. So this is my burden. I have to carry this burden. It's mine. But it smells horrible. Don't you want to sit it down? No, it's mine.
Yeah.
It's all mine. It's mine. I don't care how bad it smells. I'm used to the smell. It's mine.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you like to sit it down? No, I wouldn't.
Yeah. That's how it was with a villain. Because I'm a
Yes.
villain.
Right.
So, here's my role. I'm going to play the villain. Blah, 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 blah.
And somebody,
I'm
and
always
Nick's
the
like, can
villain.
I please take that and sit it down over here and let you actually look in the mirror and see yourself? No! That's my villainous. That's my stinky fish. That's my...
Yeah, and you've done that. You've helped me with that too. You know?
Yeah,
And just even going through therapy, and I've had other friends. And even, you know, I've actually reconnected with a couple of my childhood friends, you know, that I lost and family that I lost connection with, that have come back around and like, it's so nice, you know.
And when you can
And they've
smell
grown
flowers
too, and
versus
I've
stinky
grown.
fish,
Yeah.
your nose changes, which changes your brain, which changes your behavior.
And there's something about acknowledging it. Like you were saying, like, I've done the mistakes that we've made or things that we've done. We don't fully acknowledge. There's something about sitting with yourself and being like, that was messed up what I did.
Yeah.
There's like, this was just legit messed up.
Oh, I've done
really,
so many of those things that and I went back. I mean, I've tried to do the whole amends thing. Like, I went to people and said, I was wrong. I did something.
I had to do that myself.
You know, and it changed my world. But it's like, if you think about a smell you love, if it's roses, or if it's, you know, lavender or whatever it may be, think about how much better you feel when you smell it. And
Yeah.
think about how when something smells horrible, how bad you feel. That's like the stinky fish you're carrying. They smell horrible.
Get rid of that.
So if you can smell flowers
Make some
and they're
roses.
beautiful, then that grows and it changes. But it changes you.
Yeah.
It changes your brain.
It changes your brain. It's just positivity too. You know, it's realizing that.
And it's new connections
literally
being built.
feeling that way. You know, like we were talking about gratitude. Like, I mean, I've sat here while we've been talking, and literally the whole time I've just been like, oh my God, it's sunny. I know it's freezing ass cold outside, but it is sunny and it's not pouring rain, and I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah.
You know, I've sat here and just really felt that, you know, and it helps.
And that's why I love, like, I come in this room and I'm in my den as well. I sit on the other couch, and I sometimes will sit for a couple of hours just because there's sun coming in.
Yeah. It's so nice.
And the dogs are funny. They'll come over. I had to put blankets on the couch because they want to sit in the sun too.
Yeah. And it's the gratitude for the small things. That also changes your brain. That once that starts to snowball, it can really change your life. Just like a crappy day can.
And if you're a journaler like I am, put the fear down into the book and then leave it. But also put the gratitude, but try to keep it.
Yeah. But I think
You
it's
know?
all so connected. Like, I think that nature teaches us so many things about life. If we just sit there, and I get so woo-woo. I'll go in another level of woo-woo. Especially if I'm stoned, which I can't be, but I'll still go.
Lee and I
woo-woo.
went through the whole like grounding thing the last time we were in Florida because we were, you know, the grass out there, and you know we would spend a couple of, you know,
Love that.
like 30 minutes a day with, you know, our feet in the grass.
Well, even if, and you have to think, like, not every day, unless they're in California, and that's what's wrong with them out there. No, I'm just kidding. Not every day is going to be warm and beautiful.
Right.
Yeah, we love warm and beautiful, but that can't be just like life. Not every day is going to be roses.
You do struggle with your gratitude because you have too much of it.
Yeah, like, and so those days when it's the shitty, cold ass, rainy weather that we've been dealing with, just like life's gonna throw you shitty, cold ass, rainy weather.
Right.
You know, in the form of someone being mean to you, or this, you know, something happened to, whatever it is, even health problems or whatever comes your way, things with your kids, things with money, like whatever it is, to find the positivity or the silver lining and try to overcome that moment will help to the next. Like, I was so down the other day, and I was like so connected to the rain, and I'm like, I'm literally, this is affecting me.
Right.
And I never do that, but it really was getting to me, and just like pulling myself out of it and thinking of something positive really helped.
Oh, we're running over. Steph, we're running over.
Running over time. Well,
We're chat.
we had our little chat.
We did.
And I'm not going to see you for a while. They won't know this, but I'm going to see you
Yeah.
for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
But we'll be back.
We
And
will.
you'll have
And
a
you
fun
guys
trip.
will still be getting.
You'll still be
podcasts.
getting the podcast. But I'm going to be missing Julie.
It's okay. We stay on the phone the whole time.
Yeah. We'll have some other good stuff. I've actually got some more ideas coming up anyway, so we'll have some
I
fun
don't think
stuff.
we ever run out of ideas.
No.
I don't think we have the 7-year itch that they say the podcasts have, so we don't have to worry about that.
No. We're too opinionated.
Join us on the YouTube. The YouTube's kind of like the
The YouTube.
Walmart. Instagram, Facebook, anywhere you want to follow us. Ask us questions. We'd love to talk about what you guys want to hear about.
Yeah.
Ask us about relationships. Ask us about all kinds of stuff. We'll
Ask us all kinds of stuff. And don't forget to like, subscribe.
Yeah.
You always hear that, and I always feel so silly when I say it, but it's so true. Yeah. Like, subscribe.
And
I'm gonna get
follow.
my news voice on. Thank you so much for joining us at the Gilded Cage today. We hope to see you again soon. Bye, guys. See ya.